I, in this part, I'm not, let's say, completely agree in the fact that Go Ahead was a game where we had many opportunities to close the game way earlier. Almere was definitely a complicated one, and not to say that Go Ahead was an easy one, but just to say that we had moments to close the game way earlier. So it's part of football. Like, all the games are complicated, all the games are difficult. I think the game of tomorrow is the number 43, so as you can imagine, we have already quite a lot of kilometers in the legs and in the head, so it's normal to have also moments of difficulties against teams that are doing really good. Again, what Go Ahead and Almere are doing in the last period, I think, is quite remarkable.
Yeah. It's noticeable that after a lead, you seem to switch back in intensity a little bit. Is that a choice?
No. Again, all the football matches are played by two teams, and we have to, how to say, respect also the opponent, that at some moment they force you to do something that you don't want. So it's not in the plan to step back or to defend a bit lower on the pitch, but there are moments where it's difficult to arrive, where it's difficult to keep the same pressure on the ball and to have the same how to say, quality on the ball. And if the game goes in a different way, you need to be able to go with the game that is that we are facing.
At the beginning of the season, you said metaphorically, we're building a house. We're building the fundament now, the basement. Where are you now? What level?
Still in the same place, and not because I don't want to go to the floor above, but because I think this season in the league, I read recently one article that we played already with 37 different players, and if we extend to the Europa League, I think we go quite easily above 40. So it means that this team in this season had almost 3 squads. One that started the qualification and the first 2-3 matches, one team that arrived till January, and now a new team. So as you can imagine, is not really building, but is preparing the field to build something.
Dan ga ik verder met de coach. Francesco, is Remco Pasveer back in the squad, and what can you tell us about his importance for the team, his coaching?
Yeah, so Remco is back. I think his importance is not just in helping me to coach the team and to support with the voice, but I think his relevance this season is also for the performance that he brought on the pitch, offensively and defensively. Many important saves, presence in the aerial game, good contribution in the building up. So I think the performance of Remco so far has been brilliant.
If we look at the number 6 position, Klaassen, of course, is suspended. Jordan Henderson, how fit is he? What other options do you have?
So Jordan is back with the team. Of course, he's a player that, as you know, we are in the last days, we are managing a bit the load. But yeah, we will have the session of today to make the full decision, the final decision. But definitely he's back with the squad.
Klaas is not there because he's suspended. I saw that Ajax are number 3 in the competition in terms of yellow cards. There's 6 players that risk suspension if they do get a yellow card. So you have a team of bad boys.
No, it's not a team of bad boys. We had to play bad games sometimes because last night it was quite crazy against Union, the amount of cards that were on the pitch, even though I think some of these ones were not really necessary. But okay, again, it's part of the game and the way that the ref decided to manage the match. So. No, I think bad boys is a big word. I think like a team of fighters, and yeah, I think it's part of the game to be competitive. Sutalo is also him. We will take the final decision today, but he's back with the squad.
And do you have to look to the next game Sunday to Pek Zwolle for Henderson and Sutalo? Or?
No, for us is always the same routine. I used some weeks ago the metaphor of the books. Now the book of the Eredivisie is in a side, and now the one that is open is the one of the Europa League. We have in front of us a great opportunity, a great match that at the beginning of the season we were dreaming to arrive so far, and nothing. So we need to give the respect to the effort that we made in this competition, to respect it, to respect a fantastic opponent that we are going to face tomorrow, and to play with all of our energy and passion for the game.
And what do you know about Frankfurt? Physically
Yeah,
strong?
so there are many elements that are making the game of tomorrow complicated. As you said, one for sure is the incredible physicality and power that they have in all the position of the pitch. The size, I think the smallest player on the pitch is 185 or something like this. But more than this is also the incredible tactical flexibility that they have. In the matches that we watch, and we watch quite many, you see always a clear adaptation through the opponent. So there is a lot of work put from the technical staff in what they are doing. And in one of the questions that Mika received a few minutes ago, you were mentioning the fact of the last moment of results of Frankfurt, that maybe they are not in the best. Looks like they are not in the best moment, but it's also true that in the last two games in the league they played against two teams that are doing something crazy, that is Bayern Munich and Leverkusen. And I think what is really important, as Mika said, is to consider them for what they did during the season, and they are doing amazing. They finished fifth in the Europa League. They are, let's say, the first one of the good ones, and not in the Bundesliga, because for me, as I said, Leverkusen and Munich are playing almost a different sport. And that's all. So we have to be really well prepared and ready for all the possible scenarios that, for sure, as I said, also from the tactical point of view, are going to be quite many.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike, for the mic.
Francesco, good afternoon. Is reading the book of Europe getting harder and harder because of the book of the Eredivisie?
No, it's harder.
So exciting.
No, it's harder and harder because the pages in the Europa League are getting more complicated. Like the level of the teams is rising. Of course, like the length of the squad in January has been reduced, and for example, not to have anymore one player like Akpom, that for us was really important in the offensive rotation, is something that of course we are struggling with. If we add this one also to the fact of not having Wout already for many weeks, so yeah, we are squeezing everything, and of course we are in already almost 10 months into the race, and I think it's getting harder in all the competition, because it's quite natural. As I said, we are already above 40 official matches. I don't know how many hours spent in the meeting room, how many hours and kilometers on the pitch. So I think it's quite normal, but it's getting harder not only for us but for everybody.
Yeah, you said Josip and Remco are back. Which players are not available?
So Wout, Owen, and Yuri are the three players that are out of the squad, as you know, for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Dan gaan we 1 rij naar achter en daarna gaan we jullie kant op.
Good afternoon, Francesco. You told us at several games that the player gave a speech before the game. Is that something you use every game?
No, usually we have, let's say, a brief talk, let's say the game day, but like our days are quite busy with meetings, and yeah, we have also like a last speech before, a last word before to go to the pitch. The majority of the time I take it, but there are also moments where I think that somebody can add definitely something better than what I could do, and in that moment I decide to delegate, and so far who take the lead of the speech did amazing.
And how do you decide which player give the speech?
First is the is the faith and the trust in the group, collectively and individually. And in the other side is, according to, honestly, there is no irrational decision, but it goes a bit more with emotion and about, who I think can really add something to the discussion.
Are you gonna ask someone for tomorrow as well?
I don't know. No, this one is always a last minute decision. It's one of the few things that is not really planned and goes with with what I feel.
Dankjewel.
Dan gaan we naar die kant. Beginnen we vooraan, Lentin.
Hi, Francesco, to start with you. You were not so happy on Sunday about the performance. Is there something really specific that you have been working on the last days?
No, as I said, there are, I think in a season, there are days that are not the best ones, and not to create any, to consider how it is. It was a day where, like, for example, we had the feeling that Kian and Jorti, that usually are two very energetic players, and if you check the numbers, they were, but the feeling that they were not really like this, like a bit of fatigue, maybe, but that's also, for us, it's normal that to compete and to compete in the level where we are, is really important to have everybody absolutely there in their best day, because we are a team that we cannot really afford to play with some players that are not 100% there. I repeat the fact that the tremendous amount of games that we played with the desire, of course, to collect points and to have good performances and how the players so far manage, to be fair, I think is really remarkable. And for myself as a coach, of course, there are as you know, my level of demands and how much I'm on top of every small details. After also there is a moment where you need to, how to say, decompress a little bit and to give also the freedom to have, let's say, one day where they are not maybe in their best day, but for sure, as we did in Almere, the players give everything to try to get the results at home.
We were talking about the build-up in Almere. Eintracht is also a team that presses really high with a lot of energy. So will that be the main focus in this game?
No, the game is to face Eintracht. The game, as I said, is going to be around many different scenarios in many different phases of the game. Also because, as a main identity, is one team that you know what to expect. For sure, high pressure, really dangerous in transition. A team that try to build up the game quite heavily in every situation, but inside of the main principles, as I said before, there is a lot of work, different structure, different combination, different mechanism to go to press. So all of these things at the end are going to be important. So it's not just one element, but for me it's more the overall capacity to be in the game, in different phases, and let's say to have a proper contraposition against them.
Yeah.
So good afternoon. In the Europa League, Frankfurt and you played both Besiktas, Rigas and Slavia Prague. You lost against Riga, they won. You had a draw against Slavia and they won also. What does it say to you?
That they were better than us.
Does it make them the favorite for the two matches?
As I said, like, my respect for them is absolutely really high, but not because of these two results. It's because for the team that they are, the qualities that they have. And just these things I think are already enough to raise up our awareness and our desire to be ready for tomorrow. After all the football matches, we start from 0-0. The qualification is going to be determined in the two matches. So of course we want to be ready for tomorrow, to use the arena in our factor, as a factor for us to get some small advantages. But I I believe that honestly, we start from 0-0 and let's see the evolution of the game.
They lost a few games. You mentioned Leverkusen and Munich. They also lost against AS Roma. As a coach, you look probably at common denominators in the games that they lose. Did you see any?
There are it took a lot of time for us to say prepare properly, or at least to think that we are prepared properly, because the game against Roma for me is a different one. They were already qualified, so I don't really think this one could be a reference. The other two matches, they played against two amazing teams in terms of organization and quality of players. So I think our two games a bit out of the normal routine. After it's really interesting to see like how their contraposition with different systems. They don't have always the same approach. I give you like types from yesterday. I had the full wall in my office full of pictures. Looks like La Casa de Papel when you have to, because at the end is a team that honestly they play a lot with the opponent in the way of finding the contraposition. And again, we have to be really well prepared, and of course also to be ready for the plan A, but as well for the B and C, because they have tools and players that they can play in several different positions. They have a center back in a back four that can end up to be the wing back when they play with a different system. So even when you will read the lineup, you don't know how they are going to play. And this one is something that we have to be really aware, and that needs to increase our level of awareness.
If you look at the career that their coach Topmuller has had, he's had more or less a similar path as you, because I think he went to Luxembourg, and then he came back to, let's say, one of the bigger leagues in Europe. Bundesliga is very big. You went to Turkey. Do you see any common things in his approach and your approach?
But what I see like from outside, I don't know, but if you see how many things they are doing, definitely there is a lot of work in place. So I think also his office is quite busy with boards, etc., etc.